And hello, everyone. Say a nice big hello. When I say everyone, I mean you, TJ.
Hey.
There you go. So, welcome everyone to the Slam Jam Wrestling Show here on the Extreme Improv Xstreamed channel. This is the game show which mixes improv with podcast and like discussion and debate, game show, quiz elements, and we might chuck a load of that out and just talk about Double or Nothing. Because all other things, I see you're wearing. Oh, it's not a Big Van Vader t-shirt; it's a Darth Vader t-shirt.
Vader t-shirt.
Anyway, TJ, tell us things. How are you? Introduce yourselves to the people.
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Hey guys, I'm TJ. Since I'm an AEW fan, I'm reporting from my mom's basement because Tony Khan is yet to pay me because according to the internet, Tony Khan pays us. So I'm doing good. And
well, all I think from that is that you're probably not a real AEW fan, though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Just a WWE bot.
Exactly, a WWE bot. Okay, so would you say, look, let's just clarify this. Are you more of an AEW fan than a WWE fan?
So I like to identify as a wrestling fan, but over the last couple of years, I have been leaning more towards AEW because for me, I think it was 2018, I just stopped watching WWE. I just couldn't take it. And because Impact wasn't also that much in the hype zone, I was just watching New Japan. That was all I was watching. AEW made me watch American wrestling again. So I guess that's something. I do follow WWE from here and there, but I honestly, if you ask me who's the Intercontinental Champion, I'll probably not know.
Wow, do you know what? We're gonna test you on this, TJ. So don't look it up. I'm gonna bring this up where you can literally test you on this.
Okay.
So in fact,
you can ask me about any championships, any WWE.
No,
NXT.
This is what I'm intending to do. Now, I'll be honest. I think I know, but there's going to be somewhere I've forgotten.
See.
No, but here's the thing. I was having a conversation with someone earlier. And AEW have introduced their new Mid-Atlantic, whatever.
All-Atlantic Championship.
All-Atlantic, Mid-Atlantic Championship, whatever. And it's just like every company, especially you go on the WWE roster page, and it's like everyone has a championship now. Like there are about 20 championships in WWE. And the funniest thing, do you know who the current Universal Champion is?
That I know. That's Roman Reigns.
Do you know who the current WWE champion is?
That is also Roman Reigns. That's the one part that I know.
So when you go onto it, it's just got him listed twice, 2 pictures at the top. Okay, but now let's see. Do you know who the Intercontinental Champion is, TJ?
I'm going to guess. Nakamura?
It is not, no.
Wasn't... Sami Zayn, yeah, I remember Sami Zayn.
No, it's not Sami Zayn either. You may be surprised. If anything, it tells us that you don't. Even if you like watching New Japan, some of these independent promotions, you're not following your favourites when they end up in WWE because it's Ricochet.
What?
Yeah, Ricochet is the Intercontinental Champion. Do you know who the United States Champion is, though?
Damian Priest. I remember.
No, it's not. It's not.
Finn Balor. He was feuding with Finn Balor. So Balor.
No. One more chance. I'm
just gonna go with I'm gonna go with a crazy prediction. Is it? I don't know. Jinder Mahal.
No, I'll tell you. It is Theory. No longer Austin Theory. Now he is just Theory. So, okay, it'll get slightly easier from here on out.
Wait, you froze for a while. Who's the US champion?
Oh, well, I can't tell you now. No, it's Austin Theory. So, okay, so on that note, who is the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion?
Charlotte Flair.
No. When did you last watch this?
Ronda Rousey.
Yes, yeah. Okay, yes, Ronda Rousey. Okay, have you not watched it since before WrestleMania? Well, no, actually, Charlotte won, to be fair, right? Charlotte retained at WrestleMania, so you watched it, up to WrestleMania, I guess. Okay, Raw Women's Champion.
Bianca Belair.
Yes. Oh, look at that. You're back in the game here. Right. Who do you think is the current WWE Raw Tag Team Champions?
Riddle and Randy Orton.
No.
Okay, they were going to unify the belts, so I'm assuming it's the Usos.
Yes, there we go. And so, therefore, do you know who the current SmackDown Tag Team?
I'm going to guess the Usos as well.
Yeah. Okay. So you're very much back in the know here. You're not doing too bad. Do you know who the current 24/7 champion is? This may be the most difficult one of all.
Wait, I know this because it's a female wrestler.
It is.
I know because they did. I read an article about them having Becky challenge for the title this week.
I know.
Dana Brooke
Is the correct answer. Well done. Okay, so look, just to count it up there, and I'm going to count them as separate because they've got them listed as separate, even if they've unified currently. We've got the Universal WWE World Champions. We've got the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions. The Intercontinental Championship is 5. United States is 6. Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Champions is 7. Dana Brooke is the 24/7 champion, makes it 9. And do you know who the current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions are?
They still have those belts. Naomi and Sasha Banks. They handed the title and they left.
So it is listed as vacant. I was going to say, if you hadn't caught up to that story happening, not that it was a story, but that real news story. So yeah, that is 10 championships on their main rosters.
What about the cruiserweight title? Isn't the cruiserweight?
It's not on WWE anymore. It's listed as part of NXT, I believe. Let me just double check that.
Okay. Who's the champion though?
Well, hang on. Let me just see. Or have they actually got rid of the cruiserweight championship? They can't have done. I can't see it.
What?
There, they've got rid of the cruiserweight championship. I don't even remember when they did that. I thought it was being defended on NXT, perhaps. It's not even listed.
Okay.
Wow, I'm going to fact check that in a minute. But okay, so adding to this, so from that we then have the NXT Championship is 11, the NXT Women's is 12, North American 13, NXT Tag 14, and the NXT Women's Tag is 15 championships.
NXT UK
gives us the NXT United Kingdom Champion, 16 Women's, NXT UK Heritage Cup Champion. That's not a proper championship. And with tag. So that means that there are 18 championships to be won within WWE.
Okay, let's go with AEW then.
Okay, let's see
how many
get.
championships.
Okay.
You have the AEW World Championship.
Yeah. And who is the current AEW World Champion?
CM Punk, but they're gonna crown an interim champion.
Absolutely, yeah. CM Punk is still listed. Apparently, Tony Khan wouldn't let Punk vacate the title.
CM Punk, then so you have the TNT Championship, Scorpio Sky.
Yeah.
The Women's World Championship, Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
You have the TBS Championship, which is Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
You have the tag team champions, Jurassic Express Party, whatever you call them.
Jurassic Express. And that's it. And now we've introduced... Now, did you see Dynamite?
I did.
Okay, so I didn't. So tell us the story. What's going on?
We're not done with the championships yet. They also, because they're carrying the belts, both Adam Cole and Britt Baker are the Owen Hart champions, whatever.
Owen Hart Foundation men's and women's championship winners.
Champions.
So is that basically just the King of the Ring?
Yeah, I think they're just using it as a prop to, I don't think they're going to defend it.
No.
They also have the FTW title.
Oh yeah, Jesus, I forgot. There are so many more. Who is the FTW champion? Is it? I think I know, but
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I thought it was. And then after that, we have the Ring of Honor.
The Ring of Honor championships. They also have quite a lot.
And then we have the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Dynamite Diamond Ring, yeah.
Which is just MJF every year.
Yeah.
So that's World TNT, Tag, Women's World, TBS, the two Owens. What else was it? Dynamite Diamond Ring, the All Atlantic, and then we've got the Ring of Honor World Champion is
Samoa Joe.
The world champion?
No. He's a pure champion.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pure champion. The world champion.
Who's the Ring of Honor world champion? Come on, I can't believe. I see the guy's image. I just don't remember his name.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gresham.
Yeah, Jonathan Gresham, right.
So, and like the weird thing is, obviously,
the ROH Women's Champion as well. That's Diana lost the belt to what's her name?
Well, do you know what? I'm going to look up because I forget all of they've got the.
There's so many championships.
Yeah, so champions. Yeah, let's see. Yep. So, do you want to know?
Mercedes Martinez.
Yes, is the correct answer. Samoa Joe is actually not the pure champion.
No, she's a women's champion.
No. I know Mercedes Martinez is the women's champion, but Samoa Joe is not the pure champion.
The TV champion.
Yes. Then. So who is the pure champion? This happened. Well, actually, it didn't happen. It happened on the one and only Ring of Honor show of 2022.
I don't remember. I don't remember. Wait.
Yeah,
no. No. I know this. Is Jonathan Gresham still the champion? Because
yes,
I think they also did a unification or something.
Yeah, with Bandito, but that was champion versus champion.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's Wheeler Yuta.
Oh, wow. Right. How? Okay, right. Yeah, it's Wheeler Yuta.
Did you not see the Supercard of Honor?
Mm-hmm. I did. I forgot. And there's so many championships. It's just hard to remember. But yeah, Wheeler Yuta.
Okay, but this one I think you will get. Who are the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions?
FTR.
Yes. And then the 6-man tag team champion.
FTR.
Yeah,
FTR.
that's the tag. But what about the 6-man tag?
Is it Death Triangle?
No, it's not. No, they haven't cross-pollinated with AEW yet. I'll tell you, it's because I don't think you'll get it otherwise. It's the Righteous.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so let's work out how many belts does AEW have now. So Ring of Honor gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships.
Yeah.
AEW has 2, 4, 5. That means 11, but including the new All Atlantic, that means 12. Counting the two Owens, that's 14 championships. If you count the Dynamite Diamond Ring, that's 15 titles to win in AEW. Are there any others that we've forgotten?
Did we count the FTW title?
No, we didn't. So was that 16? 16 championships.
And they're probably going to introduce the trios belts very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Can we take this one final step? Do you know who the Impact World Champion is?
No.
Do you know what? Actually, I'm really confused. I'm on there. Oh yeah, Impact World Champion. There we go. Do you know?
No. No.
Okay, it's Josh Alexander.
Okay.
Okay, do you know who the Knockouts World Champion, as they're now calling it?
You froze again. Froze again.
TNA, or not TNA, Impact Knockouts World Champion.
I just took her name. Diana Perrazzo.
No, it's not anymore. It's Tasha Steelz. How about the Impact X Division Champion?
I don't remember.
Ace Austin. I'll fill you in the rest. Then we've got the Digital Media Champion, which has got to be the worst name of a belt.
That I know. Rick Swan.
Yes, Rich Swan. Yeah. Okay, the Impact Tag Team Champions, you may know.
The Briscoes.
Yes. And the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions.
I didn't know they had a Knockouts World Tag Team Championship.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you then. It's the Influence. So
Who are they?
yeah, I don't know. Right. So with this, let's have
Wait. The influence is, I looked it up. The influence is actually someone called Madison Rain and Emma, Tennille Dashwood.
Oh yeah, of course it is. It's Emma.
Yeah.
Okay, how about that? So, anyway, like, I remember a few years ago, well, quite a few years ago, like, in the early days of TNA, there was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, there was the NWA World Tag Team Champions, and then there was the TNA X Division Champion.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, Mike Tenay, he used to do this thing, which was, like, Ask the Professor. And people would send in questions, and it was a cool thing. It was like long. It was just like you'd read it, but it was like long before we'd have all of like the podcasts with Jim Ross and Conrad and all these other people, Kurt Angle, where you just get hundreds of questions every week. But Mike Tenay would answer people's questions, and people would say, "When is TNA going to bring in like a TV title or an Intercontinental title or something?" Yeah. Because the X Division one, it was like there's no limits, but it was basically the cruiserweight title. And they were like,
but then Samoa Joe won the X Division championship.
Well, yeah, it's not about weight limits; it was about no limits. But I think eventually, like Abyss won the X Division championship and stuff like this. But the crazy thing was, like Mike Tenay, I always remember this. He was like, the more championships you have, the less each one means. And now we're in a position where, like, even Impact has 6 championships. Obviously, there's the 2 that are in the women's division. So they're adding the Digital Media Championship, which they used to have the TV Championship, which used to be the Global Championship, which used to be the Legends Championship. So TNA never have added too many, but they did water it down a bit. But AEW, they're adding so many championships considering they've been around for like 3 years.
I read something about... jokes aside, I don't think the Owen Hart Foundation, I don't think they're going to be defended. I think they're just titles that...
It's like Braun Strowman's Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, Greatest Royal Rumble Championship. But I think what AEW, what they really should... Because they have a lot of their top guys on Dark and Dark Elevation. They should maybe have some titles defended there. Like, I read something about the All Atlantic Championship, that it might be a cross-promotional championship, something that they just have. What I find very weird about Tony Khan's knowledge of geography is that the belts, the flags on the championship, I think with the exception of America and maybe Canada, or I don't even know if the Canadian flag is there or not, with the exception of the American flag, none of the other other countries exactly fall on the Atlantic.
Well, exactly.
There's China, there's Japan.
So obviously, but like, what was the territory like in the 70s? Mid-Atlantic Wrestling.
Mid-Atlantic, it was a part of the end of Jim Crockett's promotion, I think.
Okay, but like Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, where was that? Because I have seen a few people have commented as if it's very much all about.
No, it was okay, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. I have to Google.
So NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship, and it says Mid-Atlantic. Okay, so let's look up where was Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Why is that allowed to have Atlantic in the title? But then everyone's saying this as if it's all about the ocean, because like that's
that's a meme. But
okay, so where was Mid-Atlantic based?
It's the Jim Crockett's promotion.
It was, but like, so it was just kind of like the Southern Wrestling.
Not Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. So, but like, why was that Mid-Atlantic? Like, because it was on the land, right? This is going to show up my lack of geography knowledge.
Good point.
But everyone is saying today, it's like, why is there a Japanese flag on there when it's from the Pacific Ocean? And it's like, I get it, but at the same time, like, what?
No, that is actually something that, because since AEW, they're yet to have some sort of a forbidden door with a major UK promotion. They, however, do have this whole thing with New Japan. They could have just called it the Pacific Championship, the ocean that separates the States and Japan. You could have just called it the it would have made more sense if it would be a cross promotional belt between, or I don't know, just call it the Intercontinental Championship. Like if you want to, like, I mean, I don't think there's any copyrights to the IC title, because New Japan, they
Yeah,
have
they have
their,
the Intercontinental Championship.
they did until they combined it with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now it's one, but they could have just made this the AEW Intercontinental Championship. Like,
Okay, so I'm just on Twitter, and a tweet from New Japan Pro Wrestling Global has said New Japan Pro Wrestling to participate in AEW All Atlantic Championship Tournament, and it shows like a graphic. I wish I could bring this up on the screen, but it shows Buddy Matthews, and I assume that's an Australian flag. It might not be if he's from
it's
somewhere
an
else.
Australian.
And then Pac, it shows the United Kingdom flag.
Yeah.
Ethan Page, it shows the Canadian flag. And so it's like, then it's got Miro, and obviously that flag isn't on the belt. Penta Oscura, it shows the Mexican flag.
Yeah.
Malachi Black. Where is Malachi from?
Netherlands.
Wow, okay, I didn't even recognise what that flag was. And then weirdly, it just says, it's just got the New Japan Pro Wrestling logo without a Japanese flag and without
They're
a
going to have
wrestler.
like a match in New Japan that's going to determine the final member of the Fatal
Why
4-Way.
didn't they just call this the International Heavyweight Championship?
Yeah, exactly.
Or do you remember WCW actually used to have an International World Heavyweight Championship?
I remember a long time ago. Like this was something that I used to discuss fantasy bookings with friends, and so there are two things in wrestling that I kind of it's me nitpicking, but it's kind of something that I find really silly. One is the weight division, like in sports that's so based around kayfabe, where you're, dare I say, you're predetermining the outcomes, having weight classes, and so the heavyweight championship was always the main title. But if you have someone like Rey Mysterio and I don't know, someone like Satnam Singh, ideally by that logic, Satnam Singh should be placed higher in the card than someone like Rey Mysterio or Pac or Darby Allin because of his weight. So I never understood the weight division. And another thing that especially now since wrestling's very international, is naming championships according to country, especially the US. Like having the US championship when you have a global audience, like it's just something that I know it's nitpicking. So I kind of made this a long time ago, I think in 2015 or 16, I did this fantasy booking where I was like, so you have a non-American wrestler win the US championship and then just change it to their country. So maybe because
this already happened.
I know.
WCW, Lance Storm changed all of the championships to like the US championship became like the Canadian.
Yeah. But hear me out. So maybe Miro, then known as Rusev, wins it and makes it the Russian championship because he was from Russia.
Well, he's Bulgarian.
He's Bulgarian, but then maybe someone else makes it the Mexican, and you have these, and then someone says, okay, you want this, you wanna determine which country this belongs to, then have a tournament, have people representing their countries, have a tournament, and then maybe the winner calls it something completely different, like the International Championship or something along that line. So,
I think that's just like really confusing for the audience.
Yeah,
because it'd almost be like, so like if we'd got like a bunch of people on this show, and so then I win, then today it's the David Championship.
Yeah,
and then you win, it's the Twitch. Yeah, you see what I mean?
Yeah, no. What I said was once whoever wins it, so they decide that instead of calling it the US Championship, they make it the International Championship or something like that.
Well, I don't mind there being like the United States Championship, just because like I feel like the idea of a World Championship always makes sense, and I always noted that in AEW they've never said World Heavyweight Champion. They always just say AEW World Champion.
Yeah.
And the idea of like having a United Kingdom champion or the United States champion, I think that gives you something that you can play with. So if you've got like a all-American like wrestler who wins it, then it can be like, oh, I'm doing this for the US. Or if you've got, if they had, like how they had Gunther as the United Kingdom champion for so long, it was he was the perfect choice to play into the whole, Germanic authority figure ruling over England. So it worked as a heel.
Yeah, for a promotion like NXT UK, which was in the UK, but imagine having the. I mean, okay, I get what you're saying. Like, imagine defending the European Championship in just America, because 99% of their shows are in America. Imagine having a Japanese championship and defending it on America, on American soil. So,
but then they've got the TBS championship, which was defended on TNT.
Ah, okay. And
they have the TV title that's defended on pay-per-view.
Yeah, true.
They have the digital media championship, which is then defended on a house show. It's like, what's going on? Like, I think like the names for the most part, like I don't think they have to worry about, sometimes this doesn't always like line up. I think anyone can understand the idea of like, I'm the North American champion or whatever, and it could be that if they had like a wrestler like the British Bulldog was the first European champion, and for him he could be like, I lost the European champion and the championship, and I've been going after the world title, but I've always, in my heart wanted to go back after that title, and I think it just gives you something to latch onto.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just me. It's just me nitpicking. It's not.
No, don't worry. I'm not arguing. I'm just trying to keep the podcast going. Right. Anyway.
But one thing I'll add. Like, I would really want this All Atlantic Championship to be more regional. So maybe someone takes it to some UK promotion. Someone takes it to Japan. Have it defended everywhere. Don't just like bloat your AEW TV show with. Just to give everyone a championship, like.
Do you know what though? I would like to see if you're saying about that, I'd like them to see that happen with the World Championship.
Yeah.
So because a World Champion should be the one that goes everywhere. That should be the ones that like literally go everywhere.
Yeah.
So like the name of the title, All Atlantic Championship. I've seen that people have been saying about like what does this actually mean for where it represents, because like the Atlantic Ocean or whatever, but
that would actually, like, your idea about the World Championship being defended everywhere, that actually, so a lot of people complain that when you have your world champion wrestle every week, like, it overexposes the championship. If you have your world champion or champions, because they also refer to the women's world championship as like a world championship, if you have them wrestle in different countries, if you have them travel, you are exposing them, because not everyone's gonna watch maybe I don't know, CM Punk versus someone in some Mexican promotion or someone somewhere else. I'm not saying the matches aren't going to be great, but people tend to watch less of. So, but you are still defending your championship everywhere. Your world champion is touring. I think that is something they should do. Like, now that you have an international audience, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on from this. Oh, there was one other point I was going to make about. Oh yeah, so the one other thing about this, not Mid-Atlantic, this All-Atlantic Championship is, do we know where it ranks? Because I think this is what's more important. Because if the belt, again, on the title, it shows the US flag, the Japanese flag, the Canadian flag, the Mexican flag, the UK flag, and the Chinese flag. And it's like, that feels like it pretty much covers all of the world, right? Yeah. It covers like if you took all of the land masses that it's literally just got on the flags, it's a big percentage of the world. So doesn't that kind of make it like a world championship?
It kind of does.
So does this actually represent? Is this being the champion of more than just the TNT, like the TV champion, basically? Is this a title which is higher than the TNT championship or not?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
In WWE, how would you rank their titles as like the most important to least important? Either like the current ones or historical, however you want to
So
say it.
I would say the WWE Championship goes at the top. The Universal Championship is there, but let's face it, it's not. It doesn't have the history as the
Yeah.
WWE Championship. Because it's a world championship, the Universal Championship goes second. Now, when it comes to I would say the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship, they would also rank same as like those four titles would be at the top.
Yeah.
This is more of a personal bias, but the Intercontinental Championship has always been my favorite championship, so I would rank it above the US Championship because the IC title has always been the workhorse championship, and most of my favorite wrestlers in history they've held the IC Championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the Tag Team Championships, then I don't know, the 24/7 Championship.
Yeah, but like I kind of agree, and I'd say like historically for me, if you look back in time, I'd say that it was always like World Championship, Intercontinental Championship, like US Championship. I'd say is just about there, and I'd agree that it's literally just because it's got the history with WWE.
Yeah.
That's why I'd say it outranks it, but it's almost on par. Then it would have been something like the European Championship. The European Championship didn't mean as much as the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
The ECW Championship didn't mean as much as the World.
They called it, yeah, exactly. They called it a World Championship, though.
What, the ECW one?
Yeah.
They did, but then they took it away. But it's weird. Even with the WWE Championship, they occasionally will say World Heavyweight Championship, and then they take it away.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously like the Cruiserweight Championship is always seen at the bottom or whatever. But anyway, so moving on from that. So there's been Hell in the Cell. You said you saw the main event.
Yeah. Before we get to that, or we can actually segue from this into that. Okay, let's talk about this.
No, whatever you want. I don't mind.
Okay, trust me. Let's talk about the main event. Then we get into what I was thinking.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty props to Cody for wrestling injured. Like he didn't have to do it, but I heard they're still continuing the feud because Seth attacked him. I don't know. Like WWE has done this. Like a Hell in a Cell should be a feud ender. Why'd you have like? Which is okay. So this is something I don't really watch WWE, but this is I read about this. They apparently turned Finn Balor heel and Edge babyface, even though Edge created that stable. That
I think they've only done that because Cody was injured, and they want they looked at who they've got, and they were like, well, we've got Edge, we're paying him a lot of money, let's switch him face.
Yeah, I mean, so you have a feud where Finn Balor and AJ Styles, they're the baby faces, and you have these heels. Instead of just pushing Balor as a stronger baby face, let's just switch. Because it makes total sense.
I'm hoping that this will actually benefit Balor, because they've completely done nothing with Balor as a babyface ever.
True.
And so if they make him like the heel of Judgment Day and he can lean into the demon aspect, then that might work.
Oh yeah, spooky stuff. But it's like from what I read, that Edge was the one who pinned Balor at Hell in a Cell, and then Edge's sidekicks are like, okay, you beat Balor, but we are still gonna side with him because that makes all the sense in the world.
Well, exactly. They've literally only just put this group together as well. It's
but what I was trying to say is that I saw a clip where Seth comes and he shakes Cody's hand and he says that he doesn't like him but he respects him.
Yeah.
That was Seth has worked as a babyface and a heel. That's what you do. You don't need to continue this feud because Seth attacking Cody. Do you have another match after Hell in a Cell? Do you settle this in a regular match? Instead, you have Seth turn babyface. You have Seth feud with your top guys, and maybe a Seth versus Roman match where Seth is a babyface and Roman is a heel.
Yeah, but like again, like if they'd done that, then Cody like walks out, but instead they were able to do something to add more reaction, to add more heat to Seth as a heel. And so it's like, oh, there was Cody. He's been all this like heroic stuff. He wrestled injured, and so he could have just come out, and then Seth could have been like, well, I learned something from my pal Cody. But instead, he just like destroyed him. Because like I was seeing the tweets people were putting out. It's like, oh my god, Cody's going to wrestle again at Money in the Bank, and it's like, obviously he wasn't, or he shouldn't have. But they're like, well, let's just do something to actually... We'll say that he was going to still wrestle, but we'll take a sledgehammer to him, and now he can't. So they write him out that way. Seth is a bigger heel. They turn...
Where do they go with that? Whom does Seth feud with now?
Maybe Edge. You know, they
Edge
might...
feuds with Finn Balor.
Well, yeah, Edge feuds with Finn Balor, but if they're thinking, well, what are we heading to SummerSlam? Because obviously Roman is kind of... Like, WWE's in a weird position where they've got Roman who's taking some time.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, wrestling's in a weird position. But they're like, Roman, you keep the world titles. And then Tony Khan is like, no, CM Punk, you just keep the world title. You know, it's just like a crazy coincidence that's happened on both shows.
I saw a meme that said Roman faced Brock Lesnar for his championship and his schedule.
Well, there you go.
Coming back to a little bit back to AEW. So the reason I said this is going to segue into that. So the All Atlantic Championship. It's clearly a reference to the Mid Atlantic Championship, which is something like old school wrestling is something Cody loves. Is this a jab towards Cody?
Ooh, interesting.
Because Cody couldn't challenge for the World Championship, and you were saying, considering how they're placing the All Atlantic Championship, this kind of seems like a World Championship. And Cody always said that he never saw the TNT Championship as a second-rate championship. To him, it was always equal to the World Championship.
Yeah, but that was like when Samoa Joe was in TNA, and he'd say like, the X Division Championship is a World Championship. It's like, no, it isn't. It's not.
But this, the All Atlantic Championship can be viewed as a World Championship, and what if it's like Tony Khan's way of saying, hey, Cody, if you would have stayed a little longer, this could have been... I mean, clearly if Cody stayed, he would have been the first All-Atlantic champion.
Well, yeah, obviously, you know.
So...
yeah. I don't... Like, obviously they've had to have had this belt planned for a little while just to have had it designed. And it seems to have come out of nowhere. Because, again, everyone was saying, like, the Trios belt would be next. And
again...
that hasn't happened.
Yeah, why not introduce the Trios belt? Like, people have been asking for those belts since forever.
Okay, so, look, I barely know what happened on Dynamite last night. So, did we... Was it this week we were supposed... Or was it next week that we get Moxley... And was there a Battle Royal?
Yeah, it was this week.
Okay, so who won that?
So, you don't mind spoilers,
No,
right?
go for it.
So, Kyle O'Reilly won that.
Okay.
And,
well, he isn't going to win.
In the main event, we had Kyle O'Reilly versus John Moxley.
And Moxley won?
Moxley won.
Yeah.
They're going to do Hiroki Goto versus Tanahashi at...
And Tanahashi will win because he was going to face Punk.
Yeah. Which is also something, so... they're probably going to do Tanahashi versus John Moxley, which is also something weird about... I mean, not this part, but... the booking before this was a bit weird. So, I think I've mentioned this in one of the shows before. Before Forbidden Door was announced, Okada sent out a tweet saying he wants to face CM Punk, to which, in the most Tony Stark way, CM Punk tweeted an address, which was the address of the arena where Forbidden Door is happening in Chicago. So it's like, remember how Tony Stark... was like, yeah, this is my address, I'll keep the front door open, and then, what was that villain's name?
In which one? Iron Man 2 or 3?
Iron Man 2, yeah, Iron Man 2.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about,
yeah,
right?
I do.
Tony Stark is like, yeah, so...
Was that
CM
the
Punk,
villain played by Mickey Rourke, or...?
Yeah, that was the villain played by Mickey Rourke.
Whiplash.
Not Whiplash,
Mickey...
they kind of... No. So... they had someone else as the villain who was not the main villain, but it was revealed that Mickey Rourke is the. So Tony Stark's message was for
The other guy.
Yeah, the other guy.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so they teased CM Punk versus Okada, and they don't do that. And they have been teasing Tanahashi versus John Moxley since, I don't know, like a year and a half. Moxley has been saying he wants Tanahashi, and they don't do that either. Initially they have CM Punk versus Tanahashi, which kind of seems random. They have Okada versus Hangman. Spoilers. Hangman said he wants Okada.
Are you saying that Punk isn't really injured?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, because what they could have done with Punk still being the champion, and like Dave may have even come up with a conspiracy theory about MJF in a similar role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like when Punk was WWE champion and then left, and then John Cena won it, and then Punk walked out. So are they going to have whoever wins, Moxley or Tanahashi, win the AEW World Championship, and then CM Punk's just going to walk out immediately with a duplicate belt?
Here's what I think will happen, and here's what I think also should happen. So right now with all these injuries, you can do anything. Like you can be creative. I say put the title on Tanahashi.
Yeah, I think they should.
Tanahashi has said that if he wins the title, he wants CM Punk at Wrestle Kingdom. Have the unification at Wrestle Kingdom.
That's a long way away, January.
You can, Tanahashi's not doing much in New Japan. You can just have him here. You can have him wrestle on AEW.
But okay, I think because of the we don't know how long Punk is going to be out, but like they've got All Out, and is Tanahashi as the main event of All Out for a lot of US fans who don't know him at all? Is there the selling point for that?
I think this is where they're going to have to gamble a little bit, hoping the Tanahashi-Moxley match impresses fans. And you can have few other matches on Dynamite or one of the special Dynamites they have. I, as like someone who watches a lot of New Japan, I would love to see Tanahashi versus Bryan Danielson. I think that's the match that I really want to see.
Yeah.
Tanahashi can have like great matches with practically anyone, but imagine all the talent in AEW that he can have great matches with.
Yeah.
You can do something like that, or if they really want to play with the interim championship thing, maybe have Tanahashi also defend the title in New Japan events.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they definitely can. And if they've got this All Atlantic Championship, which we were just saying is kind of like a world championship, then like AEW is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously they only do like 4 pay-per-views a year, and then they've done like Fyter Fest or whatever. But have they had a pay-per-view which has been main evented by not the men's world championship? Like if they've got Tanahashi in his what was that?
Several times.
Pay-per-views?
Yeah.
Like what?
So if you count the 2 times the Stadium Stampede matches main evented.
Oh, true. Fair.
But a singles match is also main evented. Like I think the first Full Gear main event was John Moxley versus Kenny Omega in a lights out match.
Yeah, but it was a lights out match. That's what I thought you were going to say. They also did John Moxley and Joey Janela as the main event of a show. But again,
that's a pay-per-view like that. That was a main event of Full Gear, which was like a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but because it's a lights out match, they don't count it as the world champion. They don't count it as the main event.
I think there was another
have the World Tag Team Championships ever been defended in the main event? Because one of the things, like when AEW was starting, it was like, tag team wrestling, and they've never done it. Like All In, the main event was the Young Bucks. It might have even been like a 6-man tag.
Young Bucks and I think Rey Mysterio was there in the main event.
Yeah, absolutely. And like AEW, like the Tag Team Championship, kind of like obviously we get FTR here and there. But FTR didn't wrestle at Double or Nothing, and it's like tag team wrestling. It's like it's better in AEW than WWE, but it's not what I was expecting.
Yeah, the thing is, they have a pretty good tag team division, but yeah, they are yet to keep their promise of, having the tag team titles. I always thought Double or Nothing should be, so you can have double, your All Out is your it's probably their WrestleMania. Have the World Championship main event All Out. Double or Nothing, it literally has double in its name.
Agree.
Have the tag team championships main event, make it the tag team championship event. You can switch between Revolution and Full Gear. Maybe have the women's world championship main event one, and have the...
I think that's a great idea. Like,
yeah,
and like, perhaps they don't need to have it so that it's always like they could mix it up.
Yeah,
You don't want to have to force it to be like,
yeah.
oh, if like, so if for example they'd got the women's world championship scene like became super like on fire leading up to All Out, and they were like, well, it's got to be the men's world championship, and if that's cold, I don't think they should pigeonhole themselves. But I think they should have that as a loose idea that each year they like think right, we're going to really push this this title picture into the main event kind of thing.
Yes, totally. Also, one thing that I really think AEW should do, because they just have 4 pay-per-views. Why not have at least some of them as 2-night events? Because AEW pay-per-views, I mean, I'm someone, I don't, rarely get bored watching an AEW pay-per-view. I can watch a 5-hour AEW pay-per-view, but this year's Double or Nothing, I really did feel like it's just going on forever. Maybe if you have it 2 nights, because you have such a bloated roster, and now that you have Ring of Honor, you can again mix it up, like have the women's championship main event night 1, the men's night 2, and again you have such a huge roster. Some of the matches deserve more time than they get. This is also something that I think they should consider.
Like, the only thing is, obviously, the 2-night shows started in WWE because of the pandemic, but they'd started happening in New Japan with, like, Wrestle Kingdom.
It happened in New Japan first.
Yeah. And then WWE have done it. I don't know why AEW haven't done it yet. Maybe it's because they're not quite confident that they're quite there yet, but I think they would be. Like, I think they've got a loyal, like, if they did a show in Chicago or whatever, I think, or like Las Vegas, I think they'd be able to do a 2-night show. Definitely.
Yeah.
Right, so go on, and TJ, was there anything else you wanted to react to? Because just looking at the time here,
MJF, we haven't spoken about MJF. Like, is it a work? Is it a shoot?
It's a work. Right, it's definitely a work.
It has to be a work.
It has to be a work. Like,
because they wouldn't like, after what he did, they wouldn't give him the mic if it wasn't a work. Like,
yeah. If they wanted to make it a work, they could have had him.
How do you reckon this is going to turn out?
Yeah, well, again, Dave Green, if you're watching or whatever, I think he'd got like a heck of an idea. Like, I think they're going to try to do something CM Punk wise. They're going to make people think, because here's the interesting thing. Cody in AEW, he was getting booed out the building. Then about, he's leaving and he's left, and is he going to go to WWE? By the time he was in WWE again, he was like the biggest star there. Sometimes, like, you need to have this buzz around someone. You can increase their value by thinking, like, I remember, again, I keep mentioning TNA references here, but like years ago, there was the rumor that Abyss was leaving TNA, and that he was going to go to WWE. And then on a pay-per-view, even though he'd been there a week earlier, Abyss had like returned. It's like, he's chosen to be here. And even with Bret Hart years ago, like when he came out on Raw, and it's like, are you going to stay, Bret? Are you going to leave? He's like, well, my announcement is, I'm staying here in the World Wrestling Federation. It's like, you were already there. There is nothing changed here. There is nothing new. But it makes it feel like a big deal if they can give the sense of, this person might leave. And then you create the buzz of, are they going to leave? And then when they stay, it's almost like you've had someone debut.
Yeah, you know what they should really do?
Tell me.
Have MJF show up in a WWE event, in a WWE pay-per-view, as in the audience. Like, you can't have him,
Ooh.
have him, get him a front row seat. Someone's gonna, like, take a picture. It's gonna be on the camera. Like, get him a seat that's gonna be on the camera.
I think they'd eject him from the build. Like, that is an Enzo Amore style move.
Like, but can they eject him? Like, how do they eject him? He has a ticket. He's not breaking any rules.
I don't know. Well, then he can sue them afterwards, but they can eject him. You know, they can just choose to. Like, they could find a reason to. But okay, imagine if you were MJF. Like, is Tony Khan giving you a 15-year contract? Or, like, you're like, wait, I don't want to upset the potential other place that I could work. So now I definitely can't go there.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do that.
But yeah, MJF's whole deal. I agree with him on some parts. Like, he is one of their top stars. If he wants more money, Tony Khan should. But however, from what I read, MJF wanted more money but did not want to sign a new deal. Tony Khan's thing was, I'm going to give you more money, but you need to sign at least a 4-year contract. MJF's like, yeah, no, my contract's still up. So, I mean, if Tony Khan does agree with MJF, it kind of makes the other talent feel like, hey, so you're just going to give him whatever.
Okay, so on that, the interesting thing there is if you were MJF and like, we don't know how much they're paying him each year. Tony Khan overpaid everyone from everything we hear. So say he's giving him $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
Or it might even be $500,000 a year. But then CM Punk's getting, or Chris Jericho's getting $5 million a year or something.
Yeah.
When they hired MJF, he'd been on MLW, and that was basically it. Whatever indie stuff. Yeah. And so they weren't going to give him more than that. Yeah, and if he's like, well, look, I'm like in the highest rated segments. I'd had like the feud of the year with CM Punk.
Yeah.
Like, there's me and CM Punk, but I'm getting paid this and he's getting paid that. I think I should be getting paid the same as him. And then if Tony Khan says, well, look, yeah, I'll pay you the same as him, but we need to sign you for another 4 years.
Yeah.
But the problem with that, if you're MJF, it's like, but my contract isn't up and I can't negotiate with WWE. You want me to... I think you should be paying me more for... If I'm doing the same work as CM Punk, 50% of the work, I should be getting paid the same now. I don't want to not have the opportunity to negotiate ever.
But that kind of like... So, what's to say... like in a few months, say someone like Wheeler Yuta or Dante Martin, they would not be the buzz of the month. And they can also say, hey, I'm the big thing right now. Pay me as much as CM Punk or an MJF. And like...
But see, Tony Khan is within his rights to say, well, look, no, I signed you signed a 3-year contract. And that's where Tony Khan could say to Wheeler Yuta or anyone else, no, I'm not going to pay you. You've got 2 years left, and we'll renegotiate at the end of the 2 years. With MJF, he might say, look, you know, I'm definitely want you to stay for years to come, but I'll only negotiate that you have more if you sign for longer.
Yeah, I mean that. I think that's
and he's
fair.
within his right to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. That's what I'm saying. So imagine if Tony Khan agrees with everything that MJF is saying. So he's like, you don't have to sign an extension. I'll just increase your pay. In a situation like that, someone like Wheeler Yuta or Dante Martin can, whenever they're the buzz of the month, they can say, you did that for MJF.
Yeah, but then Tony Khan can say, yeah, but I'm not going to do it for you.
What if you never know? What if they're a bigger buzz than MJF?
Well, but even if they are, like, Tony Khan could say, I'll do it on a case-by-case basis.
He can. However, so let's say Tony Khan gives MJF the contract, and then when his contract is up, he still goes to WWE. He's still like, I'm still gonna go to WWE, because I think it was Lex Luger who jumped ship to WCW without even telling Vince. Like, Vince did not know that he was gonna... So people can do that, and it also fits MJF's heelish side, because he tries to keep reality and kayfabe. He really blurs the line between them. So what if he just goes to the other side? And what kind
He's
of...
got to wait for his contract to end to be able to do that. Luger wasn't under contract.
No, I'm talking about a scenario where Tony Khan does give him more money. Tony Khan he changes his contract, the terms of his contract.
Yeah.
Tony Khan gives MJF CM Punk money for the remaining period of his contract and does not extend his contract.
Yeah.
So in that situation, and then when MJF leaves anyway, you have a bunch of other wrestlers who would be like, so you have this guy who asked for a ridiculous...
Yeah, no, I get it.
Why should the other people be loyal to you if you pour all your money towards MJF? And Tony Khan also did not renew... again, he is in his rights to do that. He did not renew the contracts of guys like Joey Janela and others. So if he gives MJF CM Punk level money, the next contract that he's not going to renew, that person can say it would, of course, at the end of the day, people can make the argument that it's a business, but again, that is something AEW, since the start, they said we are going to be the alternative, whether it's in the storyline or in the backstage politics. We are not going to be like the other company. If Tony Khan does this, he kind of goes back on a lot of things they promised. They already have, if we are being very critical. So I think what we discussed right now, the tag team wrestling.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
So so that's the thing. Like I think he should give MJF a raise, but only if MJF signs an extension. Like, I think they did come to some agreement. Otherwise they wouldn't. Yeah. And I think Warner Media, they are in on it because there was a report that said that Warner Media wanted MJF.
I didn't understand that at all. Like, literally, I didn't understand that. What has it got to do? Why would they care? Why would they say this?
So last week's Dynamite, because there's a Warner Media merger that's happening with Discovery, and so people from Warner Media were in the audience. That's why MJF said a lot of big mergers happening. A lot of important people in the audience. Would be a shame if something bad happens. And then he dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah.
He called out Tony Khan. He said stuff. They gambled a lot. Like, one might also say they went all in with MJF, because the stuff that MJF said, it's not something that a TV network might want on their product, because again, they would want it to be somewhat audience friendly. So he did drop the F-bomb, and they made it look so real. And now, ideally, if this was a shoot,
but it's not a shoot. Like, even
it's
CM Punk, like during the commercials or whatever, CM Punk walked out. He got a few feet out, and then MJF ran through the crowd, and it's like, well, nothing happened there. Like, so that can't have been planned, but obviously it was.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a shoot, but the off chance if this is a shoot, none of what's happening is out of the ordinary. They give MJF the mic. He drops the F-bomb. He says a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be saying. Warner Media's like, we want this person out. We don't want this. This is how it would go if it's a shoot. Now, if MJF, like, for them to really play into this, that's why I said, have MJF show up in a WWE event. Have him buy a ticket. If he's, and here's the thing with WWE. WWE has shown interest in MJF. And just like MJF does not want to anger his potential future employers, WWE might also not want to anger their potential future employee. So they just because it plays into the whole thing. Have MJF, for this to work, they need to convince everyone else, including WWE, that it's a shoot. They need to do something where people, and I think that's what makes it all the more interesting, because we are like, what is happening? Is this like...
What I would like to see them do, if you're talking on the idea of having MJF show up in an audience or whatever, is, and I know there's been a couple of things, even with the Young Bucks, that have echoed back to this, but like, obviously during the Attitude Era, Monday Night Wars, like, DX turned up outside the WCW building. if I was Tony Khan and AEW and the Young Bucks turned up outside a WWE event one time, I would have the entire AEW roster turn up. I would have like, we're going to do our show live from the parking lot or whatever, outside the perimeter of the WWE building. We're going to have a heck of a show. We don't know quite what it's going to be. But also, anyone that's in the WWE audience with a ticket, we will buy that ticket from you for twice its value, so that the WWE show, Raw, when it's live, there is no one sat there. I would just do so. If I was Tony Khan, wouldn't it just be so much fun? This would make wrestling truly fun again in this competitive way. He's got so much more money than Vince McMahon. Just do something you'll end up in court with like anti-trust conspiracy or whatever like this. Yeah. Just do a show one time. It's like, look, we're gonna do a show in a field nearby. We've hired this field. We've hired Denny's and McDonald's, and we're gonna do like some AEW festival, and all of our wrestlers are gonna be there. You can come and meet them. We're gonna be like calling out the march against WWE, and anyone that's got a WWE ticket, we'll give you twice the money for it, and just something so aggressively competitive.
But wouldn't it also bring a lot of? I mean, I would love that, but
it'd start a riot probably.
Wouldn't it also bring a lot of bad trust towards AEW that they're doing this? This would kind of make them seem super petty.
Yeah, but if you don't do it in a petty way, imagine if you got CM Punk and MJF and Tony Khan all in the ring, and you say, look, we want to bring the fun back to the wrestling war, and so we're going to do this one time this year, and we'll do it one time next year as well. Yeah. And WWE, we invite your response to this, but this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it when you do SummerSlam or whatever. Just do it.
I mean, okay. I don't think it would be wise to do it during one of the big four, because let's face it, no one's gonna sell their ticket to some. But instead of buying the tickets, what they can do is, again, like you said, because Tony Khan has a lot of money, do it during an episode of Raw. Just say anyone, make it an open to all event. Raw, as usual, will probably be super boring.
Yeah.
And you're hearing that right outside. There are a lot of people who are watching really good wrestling. Yeah. So imagine half of the Raw audience just leave and they just go outside.
We could take this even further, right? Imagine if Tony Khan, and you don't announce this, but for 1 week you get 20,000 people that you hire to buy the tickets to Raw. They're sat in the audience. And then during the opening segment, they all leave.
If you're gonna do that, I would do that during a major pay-per-view.
Well, exactly. So it's SummerSlam.
If you're doing that,
yeah.
I would do that. Just imagine the pay-per-view is so bad. People are like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
You could have more fun with it. So say Cody, who left. You could say. Imagine if he started just there was stuff people saying on AEW TV. Yeah. Cody Rhodes, you turned your back on AEW. Yeah. And then during Cody Rhodes' match, the entire audience all just spontaneously turn their back. And during the entire match, I know it's hijacking the show and this will never happen. So I'm not trying to say this should happen. It'd be funny.
Yeah, no. Hey, Tony Khan, if you're watching our show... Here's an idea.
Yeah, just buy the entire audience and do something fun, just
funny.
One night.
But yeah, if that happens, that would be something everyone's gonna talk about it.
Yeah. Everyone's got smartphones, so imagine if everyone put their speaker on as loud as possible, and then they just live stream Tony Khan giving an address to the WWE audience.
Oh, that would be so...
There's crazy stuff. I don't know, this is almost conspiracy now, but...
but yeah, I mean, okay, so this is something that I think, again, because Tony Khan does not want... I mean, because he wants TV deals, he wouldn't want to look super petty, but with someone like the Bucks and Omega, they are that kind of heels. And because Cody was also a part of the Elite, they can actually do that. They can I don't know, maybe have again. This is exactly where I think Tony Khan shouldn't have announced that he bought Ring of Honor. They should have done something with it. Imagine having the Bucks and Omega. So we know that someone has bought Ring of Honor. We don't know who. It's revealed later. It's Tony Khan.
Yeah.
So you have the Bucks and Omega, and you have, or maybe you have a group of Ring of Honor people who are just doing the show outside WWE. It kind of fits their character.
Yeah, absolutely. Just do something crazy with it. I think it'd be so much fun.
This would be super awesome. I would actually.
It would get everyone talking about, like, it's the ultimate hot-shotting thing, but it would get everyone talking about wrestling during that time. Yeah. And everyone would, like, you know, WWE, they always go with the idea that, oh, we're the bigger thing, so we're not going to talk about something that's lower than us, because then we elevate them. And I understand it, but, like, during the Attitude Era, WWE were calling out WCW because they were the underdogs. And it was the fun thing to do, and WCW was trying to ignore them. So I think, like, AEW, rather than just like these, like CM Punk saying about the buy one get one free show or whatever, like these little digs, just do something big once.
Yeah,
you know, just take ownership of it.
I would love this. This would be so fun.
It would be absolutely crazy. It's a terrible idea, but it'd be so much fun for.
It's not. Tony Khan, if you're listening, it's not a terrible idea. Do this.
Just buy the entire audience, you know. That's a lot of money, because you can get like $1 million gates on a show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How many shows in a row could he do it for before he bankrupts himself?
A lot.
Yeah. And WWE, they'd be like, hey, I just took $1 million of Tony Khan's money, but you know.
And considering how WWE, they don't really care whether the audience boos or they're silent. They just go, because WWE is such a huge. I mean, okay, the entire audience leaving, that would be something, because they're gonna have to show it on TV. But that reminds me, do you know, a few years ago, it was the WrestleMania where Triple H and Roman Reigns were main eventing. It was a 7-hour or 8-hour WrestleMania.
Start leaving.
People start. Imagine if AEW was a thing, and you leave the main event of WrestleMania, and outside you see that there's a small event happening, and you see something like Kenny Omega versus Pac or something. You just go
absolutely.
there.
Yeah,
you just go.
Absolutely. You know. Right. Anyway, look, I'm gonna have to start wrapping things up, because I've got the Extreme Improv Extreme show in a few minutes. But TJ, this was awesome. We covered an awful lot. I had no idea the range of things we would cover during this show.
Yeah. I didn't expect we'd go into conspiracy territory.
I think we need to come up with some more. This should be a regular segment on the show.
Hopefully Tony Khan watches one of our episodes and he's like,
So it's like, again, TK, if you're watching.
Yeah, we're not going to sue you. You can totally do this.
You can use this, you know. Right, so TJ, where can the people find you?
You can find me in my mom's basement, because that's where AEW fans live. But if you want to check out my artwork, you can check All Elite TJ Ripper. It's on Instagram. I upload my artwork, and that's about it.
Awesome. So for me, my name is David Pstansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Pstansky. These are my various YouTube channels, and this is the Slam Jam Wrestling Show. Check out everything on Xstreamed.tv, including a bunch of wrestling-related articles, podcasts, videos, and so on and so forth. So from me, until next time, stay safe, always stay extremed, and it's ciao.